BBC4 Collections, specially chosen programmes from the BBC archive. For this collection, Max Hastings has selected interviews with Great War veterans filmed in the 1960s. More programmes on this theme and other BBC4 collections are available on BBC iPlayer.
My father and my brother were at the front, and later my youngest brother. And my mother fretted a great deal about them. She's an American. She worried very much, and her only means of knowing whether they were alive was reading the casualty lists. And we children used to gather around and listen and watch and look over her shoulder even while she read them. And the tension was felt by us all. Were they alive? Were they still with us? And even when my mother would put the newspaper down, none of us really knew. We only knew what my mother had read. We didn't know what was happening at that very minute. When my father and my brothers, uncles, relatives, different sorts and friends, when they came home on leave, as they frequently did, and they were either staying in our house or visiting our house, I noticed a strange lack of ability to communicate with us, to tell us what it was really like. They would perhaps make a joke that you feel sounded hollow. There was nothing to laugh about. They were restless at home. They didn't want to stay home. They wanted to get back to the front. They always would express a desire to finish. They didn't expect it to go on 4 years. It was the whole thing. It can't go on. It can't go on. And always we thought when we said goodbye, always had shared their optimism that we didn't feel they felt. But we shared that we felt they would come back. Because many of them didn't come back. And that sort of made a strain at home great. I went into Hayes Munition Factory, the number 7 National Filling Factory, at the age of 17. On my way to the factory on the first morning, I had to travel from Ealing Common on what was then the Great Western Railway. I was waiting down on the platform. I had to travel, of course, to Hayes Factory, but on the way down on the platform, I met a woman, a little boy there, and I was very tired. I was yawning because I had to get up about 5 o'clock. And she said to me, "Are you tired after your work?" And I said, "No, I haven't started work. I'm going to work this morning on munitions." And she said, "Are you going to Hayes?" And I told her, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Oh, God, girl, how terrible," she said. "My eldest girl was blown to bits there last December." And it gave a horrid sort of feeling to them all. I was prepared for danger, yes, but not sort of 6 o'clock in the morning, sort of thrown at you by a remark like that. And I arrived there, and I just was put through a medical examination, and I passed as A. And I was put onto a job in bomb stores, which was really cleaning detonators, chipping a coating of TNT and amatol off them that was on them like paint. We had to take it off. It was very dull work, but the workers were gay and charming, and I liked it. But the day came when I got the job that I think subconsciously I'd always been looking for. They asked for volunteers for the danger zone. And we went forward. When I say we, I mean everybody went who had any pretensions to be A1, who could pass the medical examination, who had already passed it on coming into the factory. And I had been there only 6 days. And I was transferred almost at once to the danger zone. And as we went to work in the danger zone, we were lined up. And we were put into magazine clothing. And you had to wear wooden shoes and no hairpins and no safety pins or no anything really that was of metal. And we went went along there, we had to climb up onto a railway. It ran all along the factory over a 10-mile area. And there were sheds every few hundred yards. There were these sheds of the danger zone. And different, as we passed along, as we were newcomers, the new girls, we were singing songs, war songs, very gay. And the other girls from the sheds who were already working were coming forward and saying, "Bravo, girls," because they were desperately short there and they knew that they wanted more workers. So we got well cheered over a good 2-mile walk, passing along and singing songs. And then when there was a vacancy, or 20 vacancies, or 50 vacancies in a shed, so many were counted off and put in. And I was put into a shell-filling shed. We were filling 18-pounder shells. I was taught to fill these, and there was a lot of discussion going on. Even I was only there 3 days. There was a lot of discussion going on then as to whether the girls would in fact continue working. We never went into a shed unless there were some of the older workers there to show us and help us. But the older workers were moaning and upset and miserable because there'd been so many explosions. And I think they were justified. And we heard that the machines that were going to be asked to work on had been condemned throughout all the munition factories. And that Mr. David Lloyd George was at the back of it. He was then Minister of Munitions. And new machines, in fact, were in position, but they weren't in working order yet. Those machines were ones in which you filled your shell in a concrete chamber. And so you were saved in the event of an explosion. You were saved to a certain extent, anyway. But the machines that we were put on that morning were Heath Robinson sort of machines. And so difficult to describe to you, but they were operated not by machinery really, but by a great weight, lifted up on ropes by girls behind a pile of wooden boxes. They had no other protection. And they had to drop the weight down on top of the shell. And the person who was working, there were only 2 machines, boys and girls. If you were working the boys, you called right away, boys, and you put, after they'd already filled the shell, you put a sort of cabbage stem into it and waggled it each time the shell was hit. And you were only allowed, say, 12 blows. You called to the girls. Then you call steady girls, and they dropped that weight very slowly to bring a lever out to stop it. Only that first morning I was there, some girl didn't call steady girls, but she put her head forward. So the weight came on her head. And that was goodbye to her anyway, and a very unhappy feeling for us all. All the time there were people walking to and fro, emphasizing the great danger. We wore magazine clothing, which really consisted of brown drill trousers and a brown drill tunic and a cap with a tape tied in it. And we were continually cigarettes, matches, anything that you might have of metal was taken from you. And this went on sort of hour after hour. You were pulled out for a search. And there was a great feeling all the time of tension, not exactly fear, because we were very merry and we were always singing and very gay about it. The only difficulty I found when I was put onto one of these machines was it was very tiring work. The shells were very heavy, and we had to kneel down in front of the machine. Your knees just felt you hadn't got any knees when you stood up. And you hadn't got any back, as it was an aching mess from carrying them, the long hours and the weight. You had to wait for the shell to be filled and clamped in, and then deal with your pullers at the back, who were on a bonus. And I've always felt that the subsequent explosion was perhaps largely due to the fact that they were on a bonus. So they would get very annoyed if we couldn't make room for the fuse by the cabbage presser and thing. We couldn't make enough room for the fuse. They would have to perhaps hit it 20 times. 18 was the limit. And a woman came up to me and she said, how are you getting on? And I said, well, not very well. It's taking a lot of blows. And the pullers who had to pull that great weight up are getting very angry with me. And my carrier, that's the girl who carries the shells to you and carries them away from you. She's a stacker on a carrier. She said, I think the mixture's too cold. It should be hot. And the overlooker told her to shut up and so told me to scrape it all out. And to try again. Well, I went on like that for 2 more days, and always the mixture was worse. And always on both sides, boys and girls, the 2 machines, we were giving 18 blows. That's a maximum. You're supposed to do it 9 or 10. That's a maximum. And 20 is dangerous, very dangerous. And she came along again and said I must scrape more out, and I could give it up to 22. Well, I said, all right. And my carrier, the girl who was helping me to carry the shells, she said, I don't like that. I don't like any scraping out. Well, the whistle blew, and we went to the canteen lunch. And there was topic of conversation was the girl who'd been killed in the morning. And they were all angry when they got back to their shed on that afternoon, 3rd afternoon. They were all angry. And you're only allowed to work on those machines half a day. And nobody, they said, we're not going to work on those. Why haven't you got the new ones in working order? The overseer said, come on, volunteer, one of you. And they were calling out, it's not your skin, your skin. It isn't yourself. You won't even be here. You're going away. And I stood up and said I would go. And there was an outcry against that, probably because I was very young. And I looked at 17. There was a sort of outcry against my going on. And they said, you worked there the whole morning and you're young and you want to kill yourself. Anyway, one of the older girls stood forward, one I'd become very friendly with. She stood forward, and a girl called Violet. And she said, I'll come with you. So I hauled her up onto the box that the foreman had got us to stand on as volunteers. And she came and she worked through the afternoon, and the shells were filled like magic and going down at about 9 blows with some of the mixture scraped out. I didn't know anything about making except what the girls had taught me. I knew that, they were always sweeping the floor, every bit of grit, every bit of loose powder. Everything you possibly think of was swept up or taken from us. We were hauled off our machines for searches. They did take trouble in that way. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, each afternoon, they brought us milk to drink. A trolley came round, and we went and we drank this milk. And I sort of been curious, asked why. And that's really, it is to save you from getting the TNT poisoning. It acts as a neutralizer. And TNT poisoning was really a yellow poisoning. You went completely yellow, and your clothes came off you yellow. It even affected your clothes. I don't know what it was caused by. It was very unpleasant. You got it very quickly, and you carried it. You never got rid of it. Just stayed there. You got more and more yellow, and people looked at you. When you got into a bus or a tube or anything like that, they sort of looked at you. They wondered what was wrong with you. We felt like lepers going home. But on that day, well, I just had my milk, and on that day, we didn't go home like that because my shell exploded.